Hello and welcome to scripture reading. I believe this is 38. And we're going to skip a chapter. We were going to do chapter 36 of Genesis, but I'm going to skip that because it's primarily a document covering the generations of Esau, which is something, if you're a historian, maybe you want to read that. So we'll skip right into chapter 37, which has a little bit more of the story of Jacob. Okay, so let's go to the website. We're on kingsjamesbibleonline.org. And again, the book of Genesis, chapter 37, verse 1. And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. And there are generations of Jacob. Joseph, being the 17th years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren. And the lad was with the sons of Bilhah, and with the sons of Zepha, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brethren saw that his father loved him more than all the brethren, they hated him, and could not speak peacefully unto him. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it to his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamt. And behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright. And behold, my sheaves stood around about, and made obedience to my sheaf. And the brethren said unto him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us, or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. And he dreamt yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamt a dream more, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obedience to me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him, and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamt? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee, to the earth? And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the saying. And his brethren went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said unto Joseph, Do not thy brethren feed the flock of Shechem? Come, and I will send thee unto them. And he said to him, Here I am. And he said to him, Go, I pray thee, see whether it will be well with thy brethren, and well with the flocks, and bring me word again. Till he sent him out of the vale of Hedron, and he came to Shechem. And a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, What seekest thou? And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flock. And the man said, They are departed hence, for I heard them say, Let us go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brethren, and found them in Dothan. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him. And they said one to another, Behold, this dreamer cometh. And come therefore, and let us slay him, and cast him into some pit. And we will say, Some evil beast has devoured him, and we shall see what will come of his dreams. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands, and said, Let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto them, Shed no blood, but cast him into the pit that is the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands, to deliver him to his father again. And it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph of his coat of many colors that was on him. And they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty, and there was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Galilee with their camels bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brethren, What profit is it to slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not their hand be upon him. Not let our hand be upon him. And he is our brother and our flesh. And his brethren were content. Then there passed the Midianites, the merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. They bought Joseph into Egypt. And Reuben returned unto the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit. And he rent his clothes. And he returned unto his brethren and said, The child is not, and I, whither shall I go? And they took Joseph's coat, and killed a kid of goats, and dipped the coat in the blood. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father, and said, This have we found. Now know whether it be thy son's coat or not. And he knew it, and he said, It is my son's coat. An evil beast has devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces. And Joseph rent his clothes, and put sackcloth upon his loin, and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, For I go down unto the grave, unto my son's mourning. Thus his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt, unto the Pot-Ithar, an officer of the pharaohs, and captain of the guard. Okay, this is the classic story of the coat of many colors. And I remember hearing this as a kid. Now this has a little bit more meaning. So let's go back and skip through the verses and see if we can find some interesting spots. Beginning verse 1, it identifies who we're talking about. It's talking about Jacob, and that he lived where his father was a stranger in the land of Canaan. And Joseph was 17 years old and was feeding the flock with his brothers and brethren. Now, Israel, or Jacob, loved Joseph, and he loved him so much that he was his favorite because he was his last born. So he made him a coat of many colors, and this was Joseph's coat, the coat of many colors. But there was resentment from his brothers, and particularly when Joseph started talking about his dreams. So he had dreams where, the field of wheat rose up and obeyed him. And then he had another dream of the sun and stars obeyed him. What does it go in verse 9? The sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obedience to me. So this just really ticked off his brothers even more. So eventually they were going to slay him. And he was approaching them in the field, and it was Reuben that pleaded that they not kill him, but they just pretend to kill him and put him in a pit. And Reuben's plan was to come back and get him later. So they said, okay, they agreed to that. They put him in the pit. But as things were going, there were some traveling salespeople, the Ishmaelites, and they decided, well, let's make some money off this. So they sold Joseph to these traveling Ishmaelites, and got how many pieces of silver? I can't see it right here, but they got so many pieces. Oh, here it is here in verse 28. They got 20 pieces of silver for him. And when Reuben came back and went to the pit, Joseph was not in the pit. So he was really upset and went to his brethren, and they made up a little story. They took his coat, covered it in some blood of a goat, and said that he was eaten. So anyway, they went with that story, and they took it to Jacob, Israel. And of course, he was quite sad, and he went and mourned. The story, I would think, will continue what happens with the young lad who is now in the hands of the Midianites and is in Egypt. So this is the story of Joseph and the coat of many colors. I'm not too sure what my reaction is here. It seems to be quite a few stories in the book of Genesis about disputes in the family where some trickery. And here's another one where there was a favorite son that was threatening to the others in the family, and so threatening that they sold him and pretended he was killed. So there's a number of variations of these. I'll have to think about this, about what this may be suggesting. But anyway, we will go on to the next chapter tomorrow, provided it's chapter 38. And hopefully you can join me. And I appreciate you being here. Have a great day.